basically, I felt with my dad, mostly I felt like I was invisible, right? Like I wasn't there. My brother would have preferred that.
Gotcha.
Right. He was like,
he was really there.
Yeah, he was. My father was very present with my brother.
Present.
Like he worked my brother like a slave.
I mean, he pretty much had like probably the normal father-son, right? I mean,
well, I don't know if it was normal.
No.
This is the Gray Hair and Daycare podcast, with a combined age of 111 years and a combined IQ right in that same range. Your hosts, Frank Sirio and Carlo Russo. Welcome back. Here we are, episode 27.
27.
It's always one more.
It's always
one higher. We never skip. We are consistent.
Right.
2 weeks has gone by. It's been a big 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been busy. Wow. I feel like it's just every minute just trying to get stuff done and trying to just to stay ahead.
Yep.
Yeah. And now I can't even believe I'm saying it. We're only a couple weeks away from Kelly going back to work.
Wow.
Like literally in 2 weeks.
That's nuts.
She starts back it's only 2 days a week, but then it ramps up.
It's work, yeah.
Yeah.
But before we get into this,
yes,
let's tell the people that haven't been following us who you are.
Who I am.
Yeah.
Well, as always, I am Frank Sirio. I am 55 years old, and my daughter is 3 months old.
Oh my God.
How it has gone by so quickly. So yeah,
it's awesome.
It is. It's
the photos that you sent. My wife and I'm telling you, my God. It's so crazy how you see these changes. And I've been here from day one seeing the baby. And now it's like this smiling and laughing and just a different face. And,
the sounds, now it's like,
oh my God,
she's constantly talking. We were having a little bit of lunch earlier and she's in the baby prison. And just talking and laughing,
just having a conversation,
just little squeals and squeaks. It's awesome.
Do the dogs make her laugh?
She will try. Like actually, this morning, because she's in the baby prison, Watson will just Watson, the big one, will find a tennis ball and he'll just bring it over and drop it at my feet. So I'll throw it around. So I'm tossing it around, and she's watching him and talking and laughing. Like, so I think she tries sometimes to get their attention, but it's not working just yet. Once she learns how to throw that ball, Watson's going to be her favorite thing. So she definitely pays attention. But
3 months old.
Yeah, she's three months. This morning when I sent those pictures, Kelly's making her oatmeal for breakfast, and we got her in the baby Bjorn on the stove. She kind of hangs out. But the trick is now I got to be like a quick draw artist, because the minute she sees the phone, she's like, well, every one of those pictures, it was like, what do you do? You
have to fake her out.
I gotta and then because the second she sees the phone, funny. She's like, what's that?
Funny.
So
is Kelly talking about getting back to work and kind of?
Yeah, she is.
How that's another new adventure, right? Like we were talking about, it changes all the time.
That's going to be really hard. Like I know it's going to be a challenge for her. It's a lot of change, but we're going to talk about. We got some plans in place.
Cool.
To help. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah,
what a setup, huh? What we just did. What a setup we just did.
It is the tension.
The tension.
You can't wait to
let
know
it build.
Now. I think I could do a better job. We'll try again. There's definitely we've made some progress in that direction, and multiple fronts that we'll get to talk about. Cool. But the first thing that we are going to do is book report. So this time, once again, it's not a book.
Although I love these book reports without books.
Although I did get a book as a recommendation. My nephew, his wife, they have a little girl who's not very little, not too little anymore. She's grown up fast. Now. My nephew has one who's just graduated. She's doing her master's.
There you go.
And then a much younger daughter who's maybe 10 or 11.
Okay.
But with that daughter, his wife has this book that she swore by. It's called the Baby Sleep Solution.
The Baby Sleep.
So I am gonna read that one because she swears by it. It gives you kind of a real system to get them into a rhythm, and she followed it religiously. And,
is that something we're having a problem with?
No.
Okay.
No, but I
just want to read the book.
I wanted to check that out. So I'm going to do that. But this time it really is about an article that I found online. So I have these news alerts. And this was a really interesting article. It was a psychiatrist and a professor at Boston University, Matilda Ross. She has worked with 3,000 young people.
Okay.
And it was another one of these articles of 5 simple rules to raise highly successful children. But a little bit of a different take on what some of these others that I've read. So I thought it was interesting. And I think some of these immediately I thought of you because I think these are things that instinctively you have done.
I've done.
So rule number 1 of the 5 easy rules: follow your instincts, not influencers. And I think you
mean my TikTok influencers?
Well, yeah, but all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, what the point of that part of the article was: trust your instincts.
Trust yourself.
For thousands of years, people have raised children. If it feels like it makes sense to you, do it.
Exactly.
Where I think a lot of times I approach things much more from buy a book, read about it. Gotcha. What do the experts say? And I think Kelly is even more that way, where I think you're much more instinctive. Kelly's on the other side, and then I'm in the middle, and I'm trying to be more like you.
I've never asked advice.
What do we do with this?
Right. We always either figured it out, good or bad.
Yeah.
I don't remember going to my parents, my mom.
Right.
And saying, what did you do, or how did you do this? Or
figure it out. This feels right.
This feels right.
And right now, it's true. Like when they frame it with influencers, there's so much. It's my social media, especially because I'm looking up stuff and reading stuff, it is just full of all these opinions, and some of them are good, and some of them are complete nonsense. And you could just drown in that amount of information. So that rule, I think, makes sense. Follow your instincts. Evolution has prepared us for this. We can do it. So the second one of the 5, you touched on it just a little bit when you're talking about with your parents. Mm-hmm. Follow your culture, not clickbait. If you have that kind of extended family, relying on what they did and how you were raised, it's not just, I think we have, especially younger people, maybe younger than us, but us too. We kind of sometimes look at what our parents did like, oh, that's just what my crazy parents did. But they learned it from the people who kept them alive, right?
Right.
And so allowing yourself to rely on some of that collective cultural knowledge, the family stuff.
I would just go back in my memory bank and go,
this is what my mom did.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And that's what I think that touches on, not even asking her, but just going, oh yeah, I remember this scenario with my younger brother. Or
That's
I remember when she had to do this with me.
You saw it with Mike.
I saw it with Mike being a baby and all the way up to whatever. And then how my mother would do that. So yeah, I agree with that as well. Even if you're not asking, you're remembering and you're taking from your culture of what you saw.
Yeah. So there's that one. That was number 2. Number 3, follow your kid, not the crowd. And I think you talked about that. Like you have to look at look at the kid and see what they're going after. And the point they're making is the idea of if you bring a kid who really likes trucks to the ballet recital all the time, you're going to make a lot of people unhappy.
Right.
So you got to kind of watch and see what they take to and follow. I think that makes sense. And
and when you have multiple kids, you have to realize they're not the same person.
Yep.
And a lot of the times, parents might fall into that scenario, like, well, Johnny liked it and Johnny did this. Why wouldn't he or she fall into that same category?
Yeah.
Having 2 kids that are they're similar, of course, because they've been brought up the same way.
Yeah. But very different individuals.
They're different individuals, and their likes and needs and wants are totally different. So.
Yep. Now, I think that's one where I think I have to actively manage myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always find myself, like even now, I find myself, I'm like singing intervals with her and doing stuff like, because I want to have that common experience with her of the love of music and all that stuff. But who knows? Like she might not
But at
be
this
interested.
time, I mean, you're just introducing it.
Right.
Right? The problem would be if your son or daughter comes up and goes, I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
And that means you're going to like it too.
Right.
You might not say it, but your actions will show that. That's where you have a problem. Right now, being a baby and involving her in all these
exposing her to all this stuff is
exposing all this different things is great. It's when they become verbal enough to say, I don't like when you do that. And then you continue it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to go to vocal lessons.
Right. I don't want to play piano.
And honestly, there were so many things I do think about that. It's funny, just talking about this. As a kid, there were a million things that I was interested in that I wanted to do. That if somebody had just given me like the littlest bit of support, I would have run with it.
Right.
And there was
none of that.
None of that.
So maybe part of you is trying to make up for it. So I'm going to give you all the support. I'm going to just push you on everything.
I don't want to do that, but I think I want to try to tune into, oh, she really seems to like this, whatever it is.
You know what I love when kids when they have a second language, a third language, they can, because their minds are so open to everything.
I've been doing that a little. I've been doing that a little bit. I've been going through lessons in Babbel. Have you ever heard of Babbel?
Oh, sure. And I babble all the time.
I've been doing Italian with her in the morning sometime, and I want to do
and that's going to help either way. Yep. Any job, any scenario you're in. You know your kids. As long as you hear them, hear your children.
Yes.
Do not talk over them. Do not explain things out of them. They might be a superhero.
Yeah.
You know that's not going to be possible, and they'll grow out of that. Right. But when they really tell you something, you listen to them.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense. So there was that. Follow your kid, not the crowd. Focus on enjoyment, not development. That basically, if you're having fun, especially the younger they are, if you're having fun, it is development. It is, they are learning and not focusing. And I think, again, I might be a little bit better at this. Kelly is very focused on the milestone stuff. Now, to her credit, she's been doing tummy time and working on things. And I think I even said in the last episode, the social stuff, because we're constantly talking and goofing around, she's way ahead of the curve. Tummy time, the holding her head up, that stuff, maybe a little bit behind. Not dramatically, but the last few days, all of a sudden, ping, ping, she's like made great strides.
Totally different. Yeah.
So to her credit, she sees it, she's working with her, and there's improvement there. So that's a good thing.
As a parent, first time parent, a second time, it doesn't matter. You look at these developments because you want to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, everything's doing.
So that's why development and
the
milestones that need to be performed, and that's why we take them because we're so nervous. Like, what's the key thing everybody says? I don't care what it is, boy, girl, a healthy baby.
Yep, healthy and happy. Yep.
That follows us throughout the whole setup. Yep. They're 18 years old, and you're still going to say, just give me a healthy son or daughter. Yep. Yeah. Let them stay healthy. So I think that's why we kind of fall short of the enjoyment of the moment. Right. Because at that process, we're still in the, come on, yes. She's walking. Yep. Right. Okay, we're good. Right. Oh, she heard something. She's not deaf. Okay. Yeah. And that's scary, but I think that's a little truth to that. We're always looking for.
We're good. You're always watching for. We're good. Everything's on track.
There's no problem.
Yeah.
And then it takes a little bit of enjoyment out of it.
The more fun it all is, I think it's true. Like that keeps them engaged. They want to do more. Like with the tummy time, like she doesn't like it. Like she's just like, she'll do it for a little while and then she's like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this.
Now you put her on her tummy and she's supposed to now turn over, right?
Yeah. So I think there's all kinds of stuff online. There's actually one I think he's a French doctor that does this stuff with babies and always talks about the challenge with tummy time is, you want them to basically be pushing themselves up and holding their head up.
Sure.
But the center of gravity is so far forward. What this one doctor recommends, and I think makes sense, and you can see it. Like if I put her in a football carry, so like her head's here and her chest is in my hand. Okay. If you change the angle a little bit and change the center of gravity, all of a sudden she comes right up. Because she can engage her lower back.
Gotcha.
When they're flat on their tummy, they really can't do that, so they can't really get up very high, and it's frustrating.
So when do they say this should be a development process? Like from week what to month what?
It's usually like at this age, at 3 months, they should be able to hold their head up for X number of seconds or do that kind of stuff. And even that, it's like, it's difficult to measure. It's not just a 2-dimensional, they can do this or not. Have you ever seen there is a video, and I don't know if anybody has seen this, but it's the creepiest thing I have ever seen. It's all these kids who are not crawling yet, but crawling in weird ways. Oh God! Like imagine the kid
like a spider.
Yeah, like straight arms and legs and crawling.
Wow.
Or like one of them is just like their legs are doing great, but he just got his hands at his side, so he's like sliding. Like
I
pushing with his legs and sliding
like
across the floor.
Doesn't sloths do that?
So it's like, okay, get your kid.
And how old were these babies?
Oh, they're this age, 4, 5, 6 months old. But yeah,
so there's all different versions.
Oh yeah, and it is
how we start walking.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I think with her, she's definitely like. Her legs are strong.
Yeah.
But I think it's the upper body stuff which we're going to we only got a few months till the baby races. So we got to get on the stick.
That's right. I forgot the cruise baby races.
It's up and coming. The Jack.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go back a couple episodes back.
Jack baby races on the Disney cruise.
So that was that was
focus on enjoyment, not development. And then the last one, which I think for you certainly, and I think for me, I do this okay. Be your real self, not your ideal self.
Oh yeah.
And the idea that you should allow your kid to see the whole range of emotions. You can't always you can't always be blowing sunshine. Sometimes you're going to be sad and sometimes you're going to be frustrated, and it's okay as long as you manage your emotions and show them how to do that.
Well, how many times you've heard people be surprised if their parents did this because they never would show anger or they never showed a problem. They wanted to keep this picture perfect ideal to their kids, and then something happens and the kids are like, well, that's not their personality. That's not my dad. Why would he, I know when I saw my parents, they were the real
there was no filter
deal. There's no filter.
You experience the full menu.
Yeah.
And then
they have to know your parent are people. They're human. They make mistakes. Sometimes they have no idea what they're doing.
Because eventually they're going to be dealing with somebody who isn't you.
Right. So I agree with that 100%.
Be your real self, not your ideal self. So it was a good article. It was this is another one again from that same website talking about raising successful kids. It's a section on the CNBC website. Matilda Ross, Boston University, 5 simple rules for raising successful kids. I thought that was really
I like that.
That was really good. So that was Book Report. Don't miss any of the fun. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And now we are going to move right into, because we have something to do later. Usually we finish with this, but we're going to go into it a little bit earlier. We're going to do What Just Happened. So the big What Just Happened.
What just happened?
Which was really, really nice. Was my sister Lucille came to visit. She was with us for almost a whole week, and we got to spend a lot of time. She got to know baby Josie and spent a lot of time with her, and it was a huge help for Kelly and for me to get other stuff done. What was really interesting and made me think about it, and because you have a little age gap with your. So like Mike's quite a bit younger.
Yeah, 3 years, almost 3 years with my older, and then 6 years.
Okay, so it's not that bad.
Now my brother, not for you, because you got such a gap. My older brother, my younger brother, they have almost 10 years.
Okay,
it's a decade in between.
Yeah, so with me,
it's a change.
The longest is my brother. My brother is 19 years older.
Yeah,
and then the closest one to me is Lucille, and I think it's 12 or 13 years old. So there's some gaps there. But talking to her, what was interesting was we were talking as you often do, talk about your parents, and both my parents are passed. What was interesting was I knew a bunch of stuff about my dad that she didn't know.
Oh.
And hadn't heard.
Again, you were in the house where they were already gone, so you experienced something that they didn't. They experienced something that you didn't.
Yeah. And a very different, my father was a completely different man.
Person. He was a lot older
with my brother, much a younger man and much more crazy. I'm sure. And I thought the idea that different kids have this completely different experience in the same family with the same parent,
with the same characters, right?
And and it was interesting. I mean, I knew
that's funny
a lot of their stories, and they had a very different experience. My brother had it a lot rougher than I did.
Well, like you said, he was so much younger as a father, and had more of a oomph, to his voice than when he was his age at your turn.
I was talking with my brother about after the visit with Lucille, and I jokingly said, basically, I felt with my dad, mostly I felt like I was invisible, right? Like I wasn't there. My brother would have preferred that.
Gotcha.
Right? He was like...
He was really there.
He was. My father was very present with my brother.
Present.
Like he worked my brother like a slave.
I mean, he pretty much had like probably the normal father-son, right? I mean...
Well, I don't know if it was normal.
No. Normal meaning like he wasn't an older father. A normal range of, I'm the dad, you're the kid. Yeah. I'm going to be a pain in your butt.
My brother was born in 1950. So my dad was 28.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like he had that normal father-son age
and
group.
He was, 40, 47.
Yours is totally different. It's like the guy's like, I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, and too, like he went through, like my dad went through, he was depressed. He had a long-term depression where he was not like just not present. Yeah. So with me, there were multiple years of like before my teens where he was very disengaged, but not so for my brother. I think this project, the podcast, may shine a light for baby Josie at some point in the future, looking back to understand a little bit more of who I am. But I hope she gets to know me. I feel like I got to know more about my dad as a person, because there was a point as an adult, because I lived in the area, that I was between apartments. I moved home for like a month, and I got to know my dad as a person, and it allowed me to appreciate him in a different way that made me, I guess, less troubled by what kind of a dad he was. So it was interesting talking to her about that, and she was so surprised by some of the things, and there were also kind of common threads where she had heard kind of some of the same stories, but a little different slant. I also think I determined that my father's stories evolved over time.
Sure.
They were a little different. And I think he tailored them for the audience.
To that person that he was,
to that person he was talking to.
Exactly. So, well, it's funny that you even say nowadays with video and all that, our kids are going to have so much to find out who their parents were outside of the realm of the four walls that they live in.
Right.
Back then, I remember, and I still get caught up in this, when you see somebody at present age or present time, and then you see a picture of them of when they were like 19, 18, and it's like, oh my God, you realize, oh my God, my father was a young person. He had a different style. He had, it still kills me. So I could just imagine like Josie looking at video where you're talking in this podcast, and I was thinking of my kids. My kids know every detail about me because I pretty much live on social media. My job is that.
It's out there.
But they see the goofy part of me. They see where I could never see that in my father. I mean, could you imagine?
While Lucille was here, so my other sister Paula is helping my cousin Judy go through a bunch of stuff in her attic.
Gotcha.
And she just has boxes and boxes of pictures.
Sure.
And they've been for weeks. She'll go over and help her and going through. And so she had a bunch of pictures, as many children who are kind of the middle children, which I caused Lucille to be a middle child and not the youngest, there's no pictures of her when she's little. But Paula got a few pictures, and I was fascinated by this because she's like, oh, and I found these pictures of Dad. And I look, and it is at an age where I had never seen him.
Right.
I had pictures of him as a little kid, pictures of him when he was in the Army, and then pictures of him when he was bald, right? Years later. It was
your turn.
When he was in his 40s. And it was funny because even Kelly, looking at the picture, she saw the picture and she's like, oh, I get it now. Like he was doing some work Like it looked like he was maybe like tilling the garden for my grandmother. But he's in like a flannel shirt.
Little action.
He's got a lot of hair, and she's like, oh yeah, he's kind of yeah. But I'm just looking at it going, it is him. Yeah. But I've never seen him at that age. Yeah. I've always seen him 10 years older, or 5 or 6 or maybe 10 years younger. Right. So it was neat. But yeah, there's so much more of that now.
Right. We have videos of us being teenagers.
Yeah.
Because that's videos came out. Yep. Our parents never, there was no film of them walking around. I would love that. Yep. You know, imagine my dad at 22 years old and there's a video.
Hearing him talk.
Right, you hear him talking. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, photos were good. You know, you get to look at them and go, oh my God, they look so young. But our kids and literally get to see us when we're like, I have video tape of me and like when I was 12, 13, when, you know, big VCRs came out and stuff. Yep. And that's neat. I think that's going to build something different with us than we had with our parents.
Yep, I think that's true. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's a good way to put it. Like kids growing up, especially with it, when there's any age group gap.
Yeah.
As big as yours.
Different thing.
You're growing up in two different parents.
Yeah, I can't imagine what I would have been like as a parent at 28. I would not be anything.
We know each other at 28. It was not.
I'm completely different. Like I'm not the same.
It wasn't pretty.
No, it was not. But so there was that. The other thing with Lucille being here, I was finally able to do work, which I was able to show you before we started shooting. The nursery is underway.
There's a plan, and he's started it.
I have done all the wiring. So the hot air balloon light fixtures are in. And so that's done. I did all that up in the attic. It was hot. Yeah. And I'm like, as I'm doing this, I'm like, I don't know, like this is being on your hands and knees in the attic, and it's hot, already, and you got to kind of balance on the beams. That little beams, I was not liking that, but got little by little, got it done.
What so I got that for done. Josie.
Oh yeah, that was it. I just kept saying, I'm doing it for the baby.
That's right.
Kelly found a really nice chair rail, so we ordered that material.
Yeah, they are nice.
And that's ready to go up. I've got it all marked out and ready. The other thing that we did was we created a trail. So we're on about 12 acres. I mow like 3 acres. And then part of it I mow down once a year. And then there's part of our property that we're letting kind of go back to trees. But I thought as that's happening, because the trees are growing up, I've let that part of the property for 2 or 3 years now just grow. And we have a pond at one corner. So I've been creating a path, and then what I did was I cut a path. Since it's not so overgrown that I couldn't do it yet, I got out there and I cut a path through the woods. So I'll be able to groom this. So eventually, as the trees grow up, right now the trees are about 7-8 feet. And they grow really fast. So as the woods grow up, I can maintain a little. So she'll have a little trail. And I put a little makeshift walking bridge across the watershed.
Oh, that's nice.
So eventually there'll be a path that she'll be able to walk out through the meadow, down to the pond, and then through the woods and come back to the house.
The dogs will be right by her side, walking along.
They're not allowed.
They're not allowed.
They have the invisible fence keeps them.
Oh, that's true.
Where I mow,
they do not do that.
But no, and it's neat thinking about that. By the time she's big enough, I will be able to.
It's going to look really.
It's going to look like a thing that's always been there, and to her, it'll just be the path through the woods. But it'll be something that
be our own fairy tale.
That's
like a setting.
This is something that Kelly and I get to curate. We get to create this, and then when she comes to here, then she'll see the pond.
How cute!
Yeah, so I was excited to be able to do that. But
you'd be like, doesn't everyone have a trail with a pond?
Have a pond?
Ducks flying around, birds singing.
But mostly it was nice to visit with my sister and to get to see her interact and have fun with baby Josie. It was awesome. We also had some firsts.
What do we got?
So the firsts we had my sister somehow had not ever been to Green Lakes State Park.
Talked about that.
So we went to our first state park.
Really?
We took the stroller out and we did a loop around the lake. It was a beautiful day.
Did she like it?
She seemed to enjoy the fresh air, by which I mean she slept.
How about your sister?
Oh, she enjoyed it. Yes. She thought it was very pretty. It's a beautiful park.
Check.
Check.
That was off.
We had our first dinner away.
Oh.
We went, it was at my sister Paula's house.
Okay.
They cooked out for us. So we went over with Lucille, and the baby came with us, and we had a nice visit. And so first visit to someone else's house.
Wow.
Dinner away. So we did that.
Out and about.
First visit to the boat.
I see that. I was going to.
Well, you were the first visitor of the season, but we got out there and hung out. We didn't go out, but we just went to the marina and hung out on the boat. I got a couple things done, and she was there and like
take some photos.
Not really. No, it was just we were hanging out, and still haven't had a chance to introduce her to any of our boat neighbors. But hopefully they, I think they're going to like her.
Come on, you better
we had that, and then my cousin Susan and my cousin Judy that I've talked about came over, and while they were visiting with Lucille, and got to meet the baby as well.
Wow.
So yeah, lots of
that's good. Lots of family time.
Lots of interaction. Lots of family time. It was really nice. And then, very importantly, also met Carrie, who is part of my extended family on my mom's side, and she is going to be helping us out when Kelly goes back to work.
Oh.
So Carrie's going to swoop in and save me. She's going to probably start out when Kelly starts. She'll start out 2 days a week, and she's retired. But she's going to do probably 3 days a week for us.
Nice.
She's wonderful with children. She was great with baby Josie. Took to her immediately, and she's great with her. And she's very like, look, whatever you guys want, it's your rules. You tell me what you want.
And the nice thing is you work at home.
Yes.
So it's not like if something really goes down, you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overwhelmed or not overwhelmed, but anything.
Right. So it's going to be really nice to have her. So I was talking with Kelly about it earlier today, getting her out before Kelly goes back, just to kind of get her bearings on where everything is and get used to kind of the rhythm of what's going on here.
What do you think that's going to be? It's generally tough when Kelly does have to go leave the baby. You have to be ready for that.
Kelly was reading a book about that.
Sure.
Saying how difficult it is for both parents when one parent goes back. And I'm going to just miss having her around. Right.
Because it's been a while now.
Yeah, it's been really nice.
Yeah.
Like we have gotten to spend more time.
You get to know each other
with each other than we ever have.
Isn't it cool when you can enjoy spending time with your other? I mean, that's the best feeling, and I wish that on everyone.
Yeah.
I don't wish a lot of stuff on people, but I wish that.
Yeah.
On that everybody finds that person
that you can truly enjoy
and go, oh, we're going to hang out tomorrow? Oh, my God, that's awesome. That's cool. Like we have the whole weekend? That's awesome. So when you get used to that, it's hard when you...
Yeah. When that starts to
go to normal, I guess.
Go back to normal.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard for her. You can tell. She is so focused on just being the best mom she can be.
Absolutely.
And
she's taking that job to the
and she's and also it's a whole logistical challenge for her too, because when she's away, she's going to have to be at work, and luckily she has an office that's private, but she's going to have to be pumping multiple times a day. She's already lined up all of her equipment and that stuff. At some point, we'll do a Crash Test Daddy where you can try out maybe one of the mobile breast pumps.
God,
but no, she's got all that stuff to be prepared with, and she also has a stressful job that she has been away from. She's been in there getting into her email and just catching up, because literally
you have to.
She has thousands of emails.
You're going to jump into a bad situation. So you don't keep up to it, right?
Yeah. So it's a lot. So I'm glad that it's 2 shorter days at first,
right?
And then it goes to 3 shorter days and stays there for a while, and then it's 3 slightly longer days. So it's a gradual ramp up, but it's going to be a big adjustment. It really is.
The thing that's going to help too is the caregiver.
Yes,
is a great person.
Yes, the idea of bringing her at that age, and I know millions of people do it.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know how I would work if I had to pass that child to a daycare,
to a stranger.
Yeah, I would be heartbroken.
I've never had to do that. I will never forget what my mother did.
Yep.
When you have family like that, when you can depend on your family, it helps you. It helps you in the long run, because you don't have to deal with the fear of every moment at work. But I feel for people that do have to hand them over to other people.
And also, what it costs. It's so expensive.
I was working as a manager in a retail store. And when I got into that company, there was a girl that was on leave. And a couple weeks into my job there, she was coming back. And she was an assistant manager. And she showed up one day, and then the next day she didn't show up. And I asked my store manager, and he said that she came back in and said, I make $350 a week, and I'm getting charged $475 for daycare.
Right.
She goes, I'll stay home.
I'll just go home.
I'll save $475.
I don't know. I think about this a lot in the context of the childcare and all that stuff, that women got sold a bill of goods. That somehow having a career is better. What's better about it?
I'm telling you, if somebody said to me as a guy, hey, do you want to be a house dad?
Yep.
Or do you want to go to work where you hate it every day and you have to do?
Right.
Give me my kids every moment.
Without a doubt. We talked about it in the last episode. I love my job, and I still would be like, oh, really? Just stay at home. Just take care of the...
Frank,
take care of the baby.
I did it.
I would do it. I wouldn't hesitate. But
it was the best time of my life.
I have the best of both worlds in that.
Right.
Most of the time I can be here, and if I can have someone wonderful like Carrie here to fill in the gaps, and then I can still take a break at lunchtime, play with the baby. Come on.
You're in a perfect scenario.
Yeah. And so for somebody whose income isn't quite as much, and they're dragging their ass to a job they hate, like why?
And leaving the child to strangers and paying them more than what they make.
Right. No, it's insane. And all of the nonsense, there's all this stuff like where they talk about, oh, well, but it's so great developmentally for the kids to be with other bullshit.
No.
After
they'll figure it out.
At school age, yeah.
They'll figure it out.
The first 3-4 years, it is the kid and their parents. That's where they learn everything.
The funny thing is, when I did bring my child to my mother's, she would have my other nephew and nieces there, so it was like a school anyways. Yeah. So they were socializing.
They got everything. Exactly. Yep. Yeah,
they were socializing. Yep. They were. I mean, yes, everybody is different. No one's the same and has the same scenarios as the others. But for me, it was a no-brainer.
Ideal situation.
When my wife said, hey, I got a promotion. You really don't need to do part-time. Your mom's getting older. You can sit home with the kids and then do everything that we need to do at home. I'm like, sign me up.
I know that if it were possible, Kelly would love to be home. And I would love to find a way to make that happen. It's all about you, the viewers. And making this a wild success. I would love to find a way to make that happen.
Sure,
or even maybe just
half of it.
Keep it at part-time, right? Something, because I know it will be hard when she goes back. I'm hoping it's going to be a smooth transition, but it's going to be a challenge.
The good thing is, and bad, it does get normal. After a while,
you'll get used to it.
You'll go to work like everybody else, and you come. But at first, of course, it's going to be that separation.
I'm sure it'll make it easier knowing that I'm here and all those things.
Absolutely.
But still, she has been with that baby almost every minute of every day. But but we have a great caregiver for little baby Josie lined up. I'm very excited and we're very lucky. Definitely. We talked a little bit about it, but tummy time is definitely paying off. She's upright more. She's head up and looking around more. So the developmental stuff, especially the grasping stuff, every once in a while, I think it's funny. I said to Kelly the other day, she'll just kind of grab her. And sometimes she'll look a little serious. I'm like, she looks like Churchill. I'm like, we will fight them
Napoleon
in the skies. We will fight them on the beaches.
On the beaches.
And I'm like, but yes, every once in a while she's got that little, very stately.
That's funny.
So I thought that was funny, but mostly does not look like Churchill. And I did have this. It's a question for all of you that are experienced parents and have had kids. And also for you, we often ask this question, are all babies this happy? This morning, I got up and I go over and she's wide awake in the cradle wise and just smiling, making little noises. She sees me, and she's just like, she's happy all the time.
I'm going to answer that with, I don't think everybody's like that, because that would be ridiculous to say.
But were your boys
My boys were very, very happy.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of just crying and being miserable. I think they feel safe. They feel they're in a good place and they're happy. Their soul is happy.
I think that's a big part of it, that it's set up the right way. But I'll tell you, on Reddit, there's this new parent subreddit, and some of the stories they're heartbreaking.
Oh, really?
These
like the crying babies and
men
stuff?
and women, they're like, my little girl is 12 weeks old. I can't do this anymore. She does nothing but cry. Like, they're heartbreaking.
I have to say, without saying names, in my family, not my immediate family, but in my family,
extended family,
years ago, my extended family, years ago, the baby was just colicky.
It's hard.
It was hell.
Yeah, it's
every
gotta be.
day, no sleeping, always up, tired, trying to soothe, so
I think
to answer that, no, every baby is not.
We're very lucky, because it's just like she's constantly, and we talked about it in the last episode. And you can tell she's all happy and she's smiling and making noises, and then you can tell she'll be getting hungry, and she just fights. She's fighting it off. She's like
fighting her laughter off.
Like,
but I'm happy.
She's like, I want to be happy.
That's funny.
So it is.
No, that's you have a good one.
We're lucky
because
we're very blessed.
My wife and I were very lucky as well.
Yeah, Natalia is still like that. He's always like, I see him. We'll go by. We're getting groceries away. He'll be over there working, and he's always got the biggest smile.
He has this. Me and Trina, she's gonna laugh. He has this permanent smile.
He does. He's the sweetest kid.
If you see this on Facebook, YouTube, he just. His resting face is a smiling face. He has a resting smiley face.
Yeah, resting happy face.
And I believe Nicholas, his nickname in school was Smiley.
Really?
That's what they know him as.
He's
Smiley.
He's Smiley too. So not on the same level as Natalia.
Natalia
he's pretty smiley. Well, we talked about it in one of the episodes where they talk about the happier the mother was during pregnancy,
right? Yeah,
the happier the baby is.
Which was crazy, huh?
Yeah, but I think it all impacts it.
Yeah, wow, very interesting.
Yeah, so lots of fun stuff. That is what just happened, and now we get to move on to one of my personal favorites, because we get to make Carlo guest stuff. We'll move on to Check Please. So last time we did this was May 13th.
Ooh.
So it's been almost a full month.
Yeah, a full month.
Last time we did it, we were at 49, 25, 53. But we talked about a lot. We've done some work in the nursery. I bought some materials.
Yeah, that's
things like that.
Material is expensive.
I was surprised at the diapers, and Desitin is very expensive.
Yes.
Diapers, Desitin, and wipes. There's a continual flow of that.
And you were telling us, she'll just make a joke and go, I'm going to do this 3 times in a minute.
That she's gotten way better.
Stopped, right.
Yeah. In fact, for the first time, and Kelly called me out on it, it was so bad at one point, I wouldn't even open the diaper that was on her without another one under it. And
that you knew it was going to be lost.
I did it without. And she's like, you didn't put a diaper on it? Like, no, I didn't. And it was okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of diapers.
Roulette. You're doing fanny roulette. Not roulette.
I'm living on the edge.
What's that game? They did that
Russian
movie.
roulette.
Russian roulette, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Fanny roulette.
Fanny roulette. Right. But yeah, so last time, 49, 25, 53.
Okay.
So you can ask questions.
I know material costs. I've done, obviously. You look at mold and go, how pretty. It's like $52.
Buying anything like that, like you didn't go to Home Depot. Right. It's ordered from Wayfair.
Right.
So it's like, it's crazy.
So you are adding diapers. You're adding the
diapers, clothes, any other.
You had a lot of clothes already purchased.
Yeah. Yep. There are, but there's some.
Still
there might be.
Okay.
There might be some clothing stuff in there. Because I'll give you a hint with the clothes. We were gifted from my brother-in-law's daughter, who lives in London.
Okay. Some
onesies that we really liked.
And you purchased them.
We got more of those, and they were French.
From London. Oh,
they're
French.
French. A French company.
Okay.
But they're very nice. So
I'm going to say, and I'm going to overdo this.
Okay.
I'm going to say we're adding, this is only a month, right?
just a few days short of a month.
3 days short of a month.
Yep.
Right now you're at $5,000 pretty much. $75 a week.
Just about.
$5,000. I'm gonna say you're at $6,700.
A little over.
Really? I was gonna say 65.
63,1071.
Okay, all right.
There was some
say
big.
65. That's where I got. That's where I was going.
The chair rail was a few $100.
Yeah. Then the French thing.
A lot of diapers. There was some of the French onesies.
What was the biggest?
I think the biggest
stuff?
entry was the molding. That stuff.
Did you get the light fixtures with this?
The light fixtures were already in this.
They were already in the 49
because they sat in the box for months.
Gotcha.
I've had those for a while.
So you're at 63. What?
63,1071.
So let's say 1,300.
Yeah,
almost.
It went up almost 1,400.
14. I was going to say $1,500. I swear.
You were so close.
Oh, I would be so close.
You're getting better. You're dialing it in.
Yeah,
I can see.
It in, yeah.
You're way better than in the beginning.
Yeah. $6,000.
No. But not as much as I thought it was going to be.
There.
But I was just looking. Kelly mentioned today, because I got pushed an ad for a new. Last time we did the Up a Baby field strip of the car seat, and then today I got pushed an ad of a new, bigger Up a Baby car seat as they get bigger.
Of course.
And
they're just gonna feed you stuff.
And I'm like, well, but isn't the one we have is good up to 30 pounds? She's like, but but no, these other ones, we need her to be more upright. So I have a feel like that one is gonna go before we even use the other base for the car seat. Now it's getting. I'm feeling like I got to start working out, because when we went to church the other day, and I'm carrying her in that baby carrier. Now she's 15 pounds.
Yeah, that's
that
weights.
Thing weighs.
That's weights.
And I'm like, this is too heavy for my left.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna have to. Yeah. Get up to.
I got to start doing farmer carries.
It is crazy though how much we carry at that stage, because bags and the baby and they're
and then we're at mass and this woman is holding this toddler.
Oh, that's the best.
And I'm like, that kid's got to be 35 pounds.
That is tough. I've been there. Oh,
yeah, it's gonna.
I remember one time I went to a concert. I think it was at the fair. Okay. And my son, I had him on my shoulders the whole concert.
Yeah.
Because he was a little guy.
Yeah.
He couldn't see anything.
Right.
So I'm like, and we did it. I did it. And I heard for like a week and a half. Yeah. And I was a young dad.
Yep.
And I was like, who just crushed my back? Oh yeah, I was holding a child.
Yep.
It is a workout having kids.
I gotta start. I gotta get serious.
Yeah.
But now it'll be your chance. You'll get to see her, because I think she was having a little lunch when.
She was having dinner with mom.
Yeah.
Every time I'm here to do, she's either sleeping, eating, or just something's happening. Yep. Hopefully she's done with lunch.
I think she will be.
She's not asleep.
Yeah, she's awake a lot more during the day now. But anyhow, you have made it once again to the end. Another one. You did it.
27 down. Bam.
27.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's going okay. It's going okay. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you then. Bye. Well, folks, that's another episode of the Gray Hair and Daycare podcast in the books. Thanks very much for tuning in and spending this time with us. We hope it was fun. If you enjoyed this week's descent into the madness of dadness, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of our future adventures. And while you're at it, give us a like and share the cast with your friends on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Carrier Pigeon, whatever you crazy kids are using. Have any hilarious parenting stories of your own? Questions about navigating fatherhood later in life, or even when normal people do it? Email us at ghdc.podcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to bed.